Hey all, I'm back. If you haven't met me before, my name is Ariel, and today I am going to talk about my update from mostly December, but a little bit of November on my Underconsumption challenge. And one of the things I wanted to talk about first was I mentioned in one of my part 1 or part 2 video that I might go up to 500 or 600 to not feel restricted in January, but I'm doing really good and I'm feeling really good. And I don't know if that's because of Christmas and thrifting for Christmas or what, but I want to see what happens. I'm just going to experiment and just keep going and see how that goes. And I'm just going to keep going with the $400. But I've been going since the middle of October. I'm not feeling overly restricted at this point, but like I said, I don't know if that's because of Christmas and thrifting for Christmas and shopping for Christmas, because I didn't just shop for Christmas at thrift stores. I shopped for Christmas on Amazon and at Walmart and Costco and all sorts of other places too. So it was like, I was shopping. So I don't know. I'm curious to see what happens now that there's no holidays going on. My daughter's birthday is in March, so I'm going to give myself through January, and then I'm going to start looking at the thrift stores for her gifts. But I will say one of the things that I have an impulse control most for shopping is when I'm in thrift stores, because it's like I can't even give it 24 hours because it might not be there tomorrow. So it's literally like I get it now or I don't get it. So it's a very scarcity mindset. So sometimes I end up buying stuff from the thrift store that I don't really end up liking. And so I am trying to keep limits on what thrift stores I go to, because there's 2 thrift stores here that it's like $1 or less than $1 for most things there, like clothing, books, DVDs, all the stuff. And so I've just been going to those 2. And then I don't feel so bad about like wasting $1 if the clothes don't work out or whatever. I really like this challenge so far because I started decluttering my house in middle of 2023, and like I am still I have a crawl space that I'm still working on in my garage, and I'm still kind of finding little things to get rid of here and there, or I buy something better and I declutter it. When I first started decluttering, I was decluttering like probably 10 bags, black trash bags a week. Maybe less, maybe 2. I'm overestimating. It was 2. Why am I saying 10? That's silly. It was 2. And now it's like 1 to 2 a month instead of 1 to 2 a week. It might have been more than that. Honestly, I can't even remember now, but I was getting rid of a lot of trash bags of stuff at that point, and my house is much cleaner and much tidier and much easier to put back together. It's still not, it's a small house, so it's not perfect, and there's 4 people living in it and 4 animals, so, but I am decluttering my pantry and my fridge and all the food that we have like overbought over the last, because I was spending about $400 last January and February and March, and then April hit, and like April and May hits, and I go to the farmer's market and I start spending a ton of money on food and stuff, and so I've just like overbought a bunch of stuff, and so we've been eating that, and like it really started to clutter our cabinets. Our snacks are really coming down, which is great. Our candy cupboard had started to get really decluttered, and then Christmas hit and all of the Christmas candy got put in there, and so it's back to being full again. So I'm going to be happy to watch that get decluttered again. So yeah, I'm using up my snacks, my candy, basically anything that was overbought is being decluttered slowly. And I'm finding that there's less waste. I'm not throwing away produce. I don't throw it away anyways. I compost it. I have a compost, but like, I'm not throwing away as many leftovers because we're eating them, because one of the rules in my house is like, don't go to the freezer, go to the leftovers. And so we've been just eating the leftovers, and twice a week we have a leftover night. So lots of leftovers being eaten and a lot less waste going on, because nothing is expired in my pantry. In fact, I pulled something out the other day and I was like, when does this expire? And I'm like, it's like the last one that I was using up, and it expires in late 2026. So I'm using it really ahead because of the way that I've been meal planning and stuff, which I will do a video on how I meal plan, because it has definitely helped. Like, sticking to a list helps stick to this $400. I will say I found some more lotion. I was decluttering a drawer and I found more lotion. So I will not have to buy lotion for most of 2026, if not all of 2026, because I have like 5 things of lotion. I've been doing my skincare again. It was doing really good. I have like 2 breakouts right now, but it was doing really good. It looks really beautiful. You kind of see it looks like some of my skin is just glowing. But I was using my face wash and it's starting to smell a little off. So I'm going to use up the body wash that I have in the shower. There's not much left. And then I'm going to take that face wash into the shower and use it both as a body wash and a face wash. And so I use it up quicker, because it is starting to smell a little off. But it doesn't have an expiration date on it the way makeup does. So I don't know when it expires. I will say there is more awareness around what I'm overbuying now, because like I can't overbuy it, and so I'm looking and I'm going, what? Why do I have so many of these, or why do I have so many of this? And it's just like, I think thankfully it's like making it so that all those things are getting used up, but also I'm going, wow, I did not need to buy 6 things of lotion, 1 for every room, because I wasn't even using it that much. Also, I'm looking down at my notes. I use my phone to record, so I have to print these out. I do recycle them, or I reuse them for other things. At the start of the year, I talked about this a little bit in my, I think part 1 of my challenge starting. My word of the year was intentional, and so I wanted this to be my year of less. I wanted to be really intentional about my purchases. I was like, I'm going to do a no-buy year for this reason, and like I was not good at that at the beginning of the year. In the middle, it was a little better, and at the end, I got really great at it. That's where I really skyrocketed, and so this is helping me do that, bring less things into the house and be more intentional with my purchases, because I'm like, well, I only have $400 to spend, so what am I going to buy? Am I going to buy this little stoneware pumpkin that I think is cute, or am I going to buy some more food for future stock, so that, you know, or a pantry bucket or whatever, like anything that's more important than something frivolous like a small stoneware dish that can't even cook for my whole family. But one of the things with the year of less that I did was I was tracking my things I was decluttering, taking out of the house or throwing away, and things I was bringing into the house. So it wasn't like consumable goods, unless it was like lotions and stuff, but things that I really like, I wanted to just have less stuff at the end of the year. And so I was tracking that, and you can see like there's definitely months where I was like decluttering more than I was bringing in, but there was months where I was bringing in a ton of stuff. And so I like look back and I can see that even with my year of less and my intentional word, I was still just overbuying stuff and just overspending. And this has really helped me like cut it down. And I mean, I'm still going to the thrift stores, so I'm still getting to buy random trinkets and toys and whatever. but it's like I haven't spent more than $14 at a thrift store, and I haven't gone more than once every 2 weeks. So like it's and I feel really good about that. That's what I'm saying, like that's really good. So that's pretty much my update on how I'm feeling, where I'm at this point. And then what happened this month was our fridge broke. And that my husband went out of town the same week our fridge broke. Thankfully, he was like here when it broke, and so he like ordered a part for it, but it wasn't going to be here for the entire week that he was gone. And the entire week that he was gone, my animals got together and had a meeting, and they decided that they were going to drive me to the edge of insanity, and that they were going to get me there at any means possible. And so there was just one disaster after another with my animals. I was literally on the phone with my mother-in-law complaining about all the horrible things they had done, and my cat knocked over a huge plant as I was telling her about what a menace they have all been. Anyways, so it was a horrible week. I ended up in my haul videos, you can see I ended up buying myself some like charcuterie stuff, and I pulled out one of the bottle of wines that I have, and I had a glass of wine and I had charcuterie with my family, and it was friggin' fantastic. It was exactly what I needed after that horrible week. My husband replaced the part in the fridge, worked for about 4 days, and then I woke up one day. It was the day after Thanksgiving that the fridge broke the first time, and then a week, like probably 3 or 4 days after he put the part in, I woke up and things are warm again, and I'm like, fridge is broken again. And so he comes in and he's looking at it and he's like, the part that is broken isn't fixable. We're gonna have to get a new fridge. And y'all, I just hate being a homeowner sometimes, until I saw that in California, they're just now making it mandatory for landlords to include stoves and fridges in your rental. So I could be renting a place and still have to give myself a stove and a fridge. So I'm feeling pretty lucky right now, actually. And I was really, really lucky because the fridge was decently priced. It was under $1,000. It did not come with an ice maker, but it did have like you could buy an ice maker separate. Well, my father-in-law lovingly realized that would have made a great Christmas present. And so honestly, I'm gonna cry because he bought it for us. He bought us the ice maker for Christmas, and now we have an ice maker in our freezer, and we have a working fridge and freezer, and I'm just so grateful. And I didn't murder any of my animals, and they didn't murder me, so we made it through the week. Black Friday, I didn't buy anything for myself. I only bought presents, and they were already pre-planned presents, so I knew exactly what I was going to buy. I stuck to the list. I've been really good at sticking to my list. I'm telling you, it is a muscle thing. Once you start, it's hard at first, but like now I barely impulse buy anything. So like, and I've been doing this for 2 years now, that's sticking to lists and meal planning and menu planning and all the things. We also went on a trip to another city about 4 or 5 hours away, and we ate out one meal. Thankfully, my in-laws were like, here's some money to go out to dinner. Well, lunch. We had lunch. And then we went out to a dinner, cheap dinner, and then the next day we had like a Costco lunch to make it even cheaper. And so we did eat out, and then my husband and I went shopping one day because he was off on the day that I go shopping. And so we had lunch at Costco again together. It's just a really cheap way. Like, we don't eat out a ton, and it's just one. When we do, it's usually at Costco. Excuse me. And then one night I really didn't want to cook. I cook almost every night. My husband cooks about once a week, so that means I'm cooking around 4 times a week. I don't work as much as him, so that it makes sense. But there was one night where I just really didn't want to cook. He was not wanting to cook, so we did go have dinner at Costco. Because it's really, like, you literally spend under $5 for our family to have dinner and desserts, or I guess it'd be like $6-7. So it's one of those things that it's like the cheapest place to eat. So, and my daughter loves it. She loves the hot dogs and she loves the pizza. And so it's like there's not a lot of restaurants that we can like go out to actually because of her. And so it's really nice that that's one of the cheapest and we can. There was some, oh, I'm rubbing my makeup off. There was some Christmas gifts that we bought that were not like gifts, but they were kind of like traditions and stuff. Like one of them was, oh, I got something in my eye. One of them was you know those Danish butter cookies in the like sewing tin, like everybody uses them as sewing tin. Well, we always get those, and we didn't want to do without this year, and so we just decided to call that part of the Christmas budget and got those. And then we also bought some like stocking stuffer chocolates as well. So that was like one of the things that we bought that didn't really count and I didn't put in our grocery haul. I also found some thrifted items that were almost completely perfect and then they just needed repaired a little bit. So I actually repaired quite a few thrifted items this year and then gave them out to my close family, my husband, my daughters, because I saved them from the landfill, and that feels really good. Like I repaired the items, none of them minded, none of them said a word. I even pointed it out to a couple, to my husband, and he didn't say a word. He didn't care. And then while I was out thrifting, I did buy myself 2 crop top sweaters, a scarf, and then a packable coat. I have already worn the crop top sweaters multiple times. I've worn the scarf a couple of times, and the packable coat is slightly too small, and it was in desperate need of repair. So I had bought a coat from Costco, and on Halloween I like on the side on a concrete and it just kind of put teeny tiny holes on it. So I bought some tenacious tape to fix it, and I bought a whole roll thinking, well, I'll use this in the future. And so I fixed my coat, and then the packable coat, I found it, and so I fixed like, I want to say like 7 holes in it. It was a lot of holes. I keep joking that it's more repair tape than it is coat at this point, but it works great. I went out in negative temperatures yesterday hiking with my husband, and I had my wool underlayers, my wool sweater, the packable coat, and then I put my raincoat over it because it was a little bit snowing, but also because it helps hold in the heat. And I was warm enough. I will say on my legs, I also had 2 pairs of base layers and 1 pair of pants. So I was warm enough, and it was great. Yeah. So I will probably try to find another packable coat in the future that fits me better. But for now, it works well, and it was literally under $1. Like under $1. Also, I just have to put this on the internet because I thought it was funny. I talked about how I've curated my closet, and I have a specific set colors that I buy for my closet: rust orange, emerald green, purple, maroon, navy, black, and white, and gray. And my daughter the other day goes, "Good thing you're a redhead because your colors are giving Joker." And I'm like, you're literally so right, but they're all the colors that look the best with my hair, and so I'm like, I guess I'm part Joker. Some things I made this month to save on a little bit of money. I talked about this in my grocery haul. We were going to buy my daughter lollipops that are red food dye free, and they were like $10 for like 10 of them, and I don't really want to pay $1 a sucker. I know how to make candy. I have a candy thermometer. So I made her some lollipops, and then I made her just it's like shatter candy. It's basically peanut brittle candy, kind of, where you like put it in a sheet pan, and then you just let it cool, and then you break it apart into smaller pieces. I made her like a fruit flavored one, and then a peppermint one. and she liked them both. And then for years and years and years, I've been buying coal candy for my family because my oldest told me it was one of her favorite traditions. Well, this year, the price of that coal candy went up astronomically, and I was not about to pay that price for that ridiculous candy. So a video came up of someone making chocolate covered honeycomb coal candy, and I was like, I can do that. And so I made that, and that was our coal candy this year. Well, I was telling my daughter this, my oldest, and she's like, I don't even remember saying that. I hated that stuff. And I'm like, well, I'm really glad we had this conversation and then this happened, because I would have been buying that for years and years and years. And they all loved the honeycomb so much more. My youngest was eating it off the tray before it even had chocolate on it, just going, this is so good. So we enjoyed that. I also made some caramels because I couldn't find any at Walmart, so I was like, screw it, I'll just make some, and it's really good. I do have to keep them in the freezer or in the fridge because they're not staying hard enough out on the counter, so I will have to mess with the temperature next time. I also made rolls and buns, pizza dough that I put in the freezer and use as like a flatbread or for pizza. I made sugar cookies and we decorated sugar cookies. I made gingerbread cookies and we decorated those. I made the frosting for all of that. And then I went through my hiking pack this weekend before we went hiking yesterday, and I took out all the snacks from this summer, and they were all pretty stale. But I put them in the oven for like 5 minutes and rebaked them, and they all came out really crispy and perfect. And there was like a honey mustard pretzel snack mix and like peanut butter pretzels and some nuts. The nuts weren't rancid. That's why I was able to rebake them. And then we had Costco sold these like jalapeno giant. They were like literally like this big. Giant corn nuts. And I rebaked those. And then I was like, you know what would be really good is if I put some ranch seasoning on this. And so I have some in the cupboard still. Threw them in the oven for a few minutes to let the oils release, and then I put the ranch seasoning on them, and then I threw them back in the oven for like another minute or two, and then pulled them out, and my husband and I went through the whole bag of the jalapeno ranch corn nuts yesterday. It was so good. We've decided we're going to do that with the rest of them, just a little at a time, because the ones in the cupboard are stale too. This is where it's great that we're not buying more, because those ones got stale, and now I'm just a little at a time rebaking them so they're not stale anymore. Oh, this is my favorite thing that I've done so far. I wanted to read all my books. I am usually a person who doesn't really buy books unless I've read it and I know I love it and I want to own it. But Book Talk got to me when I was on Book Talk, and I was buying a ton of books. And so that must have been in 2023. I was buying a bunch of books. And the beginning of 2024. And then I got off all of the social media and everything, so I haven't been buying books since then. But I have all of these unread books in my bookshelf. Not a ton. Like, honestly, I see some of these libraries that people have, and literally I'm like, holy cow, I have like maybe less than 50 books that I have had since, like, some of them I've had since I was a teenager. And I'm like, holy cow, I don't even have that many books. So like I'm feeling pretty good that I have a small collection, but I also still have more than I need because I have a TBR, a physical TBR that I haven't read any of them. Yeah. And so what I did was I saw someone wrapping up their TBR for Advent, and so they were wrapping it up in brown paper and then they were just reading them. Well, I was like, I'm just going to do that for funsies because I love that. And when my library did the blind date with a book, I really enjoyed it. And I felt like getting a present. And so I wrapped them all up. And then I had my daughter move them around and shuffle them. So I had no idea. And I ended up with 12 books wrapped. I only wrapped the first book if it was a series of books, because I was like, I'll just read the series. I don't want to have to like go through and suddenly I've read one book in 1 month, and then I'm at the end of the year and I'm reading the second book. So I just wanted to read the first book and then pull out the second and third book from my bookshelf. And so I have already started with this. I'm reading 50 Shades of Grey. I have a love-hate relationship with that book so far. I'm not sure how I'm going to feel about it at the end. I might end up decluttering this series, so we'll see. So far, though, I am almost finished with the first book, and then I have the next 2 to read. But I have a goal each year to read about 12 books, 1 book a month. I don't always read 1 book a month, but I do always read at least 12 books a year. And so my 12 books wrapped up will make good for the whole year, and I will have read more on my TBR, and I will have used up my books, which we've talked about. I'm on to use it up on everything. All right, so that's like, this is going to be a long video, I'm realizing, but that's everything that's been happening in an update. So then I started keeping track of everything I've finished in December. There's more things in November, but I didn't keep track of them. And I didn't keep track of any of my normal groceries that I would like repurchase. But if there's a bunch of like overbought, or if it's just been sitting in my cupboard for a long time, I wrote it down because I was proud of it. And I was like, get that the heck out of here. Like, that's been in here for 900 years, or I had 900 of them and now I only have 2 left. So, the first thing that we got rid of was a carpet cleaner concentrate solution. And it's like, literally you use like 2 tablespoons of this concentrate and then the rest is water. And it's like a jug, like the size of my head, maybe bigger. My husband got it from his old job that he worked at like 4 or 5 years ago. And we just finished one. We have another one, y'all. We have another one. So, yeah. We've got more to use up. So, one's in the garbage. Yay! 1 more to use up. I used up 2 things of green food dye. And I do not need to buy a replacement for this because I still have another thing of green food dye in the cupboard. I buy like packs of gel coloring because I bake and cook a lot. Well, now my daughter can't have most of the gel coloring, so we can only use some of it, and I don't know what I'm going to do with the rest of it, to be honest with you. I think I'm just going to cry about it. That's what I'm going to do. This one I'm really, really proud of. I have had corn syrup, like, it was so expired. It was not bad in any way. Like, it was not crystallized. It was not discolored. It was not moldy. It was not any of those things, but it was so expired. And I used all of it up, and it is gone, and it is in the garbage, and it will never come back to my house. Well, maybe not never, but I don't need to currently buy a replacement because I have a ton of honey to use up. Well, not a ton of honey. I've used that up too. We're going to get to that. But I have some honey to use up. I might need to buy more corn syrup in the future, though, because if I'm making my daughter candy, it either needs honey or corn syrup. I used up peppermint tea bags and chai tea bags. There was only a couple of each left, but I used both of those up. I'm not buying a replacement because I have way more tea to use up. And so until I use up the rest of my tea, I'm just not going to buy anything else. I used up a big old jar of Costco chicken base. I talked about this in one of my haul videos. I bought a thing of Walmart chicken bouillon powder because I don't want to keep something in my fridge anymore. And Costco chicken base you have to keep in your fridge. And so I'm not buying that anymore. So I don't need a replacement because I already have one. But that was one that took a really long time to use up. And I still have vegetable base in there. And an Italian base that's like I barely ever use because it's like for spaghetti. And I use it like probably every 2 weeks if I remember to use it. Once every 2 weeks if I remember. So once a month. Let's be realistic here. It's probably like once a month, if that. I used up a tube of toothpaste. I don't need to buy a replacement because I still have 2 from my Costco pack. When those are gone, I'll probably buy another Costco pack. I enjoy having like a small store in my house of things and buying bulk of things that I know I will use. And so I will probably buy that again. And I will at some point take a video of all of my store in my house because I do have a little bit of a store that I've built, and I even am making a sign for it that's like a general store sign. I used up quite a bit of ribbon, but I actually used up 1 whole roll, which was really good because most of my ribbon are from Costco, and so like they're big Costco size things of ribbon. But what was crazy about the ribbon that I used up had a Kmart label. My Kmart has been closed for like 10 years, something like that. So I bought that at the thrift store. So I've had it for a long time, but I used up 1 whole thing of ribbon so far. I used up 7 partially used spools of thread, and then 3 bobbins. And then I pulled out 6 spools of thread because they had like such a teeny amount on them that like it wouldn't even like when you first start it and you have to go back and forth to like keep your thread in place, it wouldn't even be enough to do that. And so I just pulled them. But I actually don't need to buy more thread. Oh, and I pulled one of them because it kept breaking and it was weirdly wound. But I don't need to buy more thread because most of this thread actually is from my husband's mother's house. There we go. My husband's mother's mother's. So my husband's grandmother's house. And she was a seamstress, sewer, and so she had a whole case of thread. I'm still using it. It's still good. It's not like it doesn't break or anything, so I don't have a problem with it. So I just keep using it. But I was able to take, before I got that from her, I was buying my own thread, and I was able to clear out enough space in the box she gave me to fit all of my thread in there. So now I only have one case of thread to use up. I used up a ton of fabric and scraps and whole pieces. They were all from my stash, and most of them were presents for my daughter. I made a jewelry holder. I made a canvas bag. I made her 2 headbands, and I made myself 2 matching headbands. I made her a Barbie bean bag. I made her a Barbie sleeping bag for her Barbie camper that I got her. I made her 2 Barbie pillows to go with it. I made her 4 Barbie skirts. I made a fabric for the fabric chain that I made, like a paper chain, but it's out of fabric. And I also used the buffalo plaid fabric, but then I also used red and green felt, and then I used 3 types of ribbon. 1 ribbon that I used up. I made 2 pillow covers for my couch pillows. I failed at 2 scrunchies that became cat toys. I made 6 rice pack hand warmers for myself, 6 for my daughter, and 3 for her lunch. And then I made a pocketed hanger shelf for her bed. And I really don't need to buy more fabric because even after making all of that, I still have an entire tote full of fabric. Like, I barely used any fabric for all of that. I used up a quart of honey. This one's one of those ones that I'm feeling really good about because I think it was last year I got really into fermenting, and I was like, oh, I'll make mead and I'll make wine and I need all this honey. And so I bought a bunch of local honey, and then I didn't do any of that. So I'm doing good. And so yeah, I've just been using the honey up organically in my house. Not like it's not organic honey. I've been using it up organically, like I would naturally in my house. And so I used up a quart. I still don't need to buy a replacement though, because I have 1 quart jar that I already got into, 1 half pint that's about this big that I've halfway used, and then I have a Costco sized white clover honey to get in through as well. So who needs honey? I've got some. I'm your honey dealer now. Buy my Just kidding. I used up a Christmas wrapping paper roll. I don't really have to buy Christmas wrap because I use fabric bags, but I do keep some on hand for like, because I used to wrap everybody's presents in fabric bags, and then I stopped getting fabric bags back because they thought it was part of the gift, and I was like too nice to tell them that it wasn't. And so I stopped doing that, and I started wrapping. If I gave away gifts to other people outside of my family, I would wrap their presents in paper. And so I do keep some paper on hand, but I had 3 rolls, and I used up one of them. One of them is close to being used up, so next Christmas they'll for sure be used up. And then I also used up, those like adhesive tags, they're like sticker tags. I used up a booklet of those. There was 3 left, and there was exactly 3 that I needed, and so it worked out perfectly. And I don't need to buy more because I still have more left over. I threw away 2 lipsticks and 1 mascara. The mascara my husband bought me a replacement for Christmas. I gave that one a really good honest try for over a year. I bought it either in the spring or in late 2024. And so I really tried it, and I hated that stuff. It was so liquidy. It was a Rimmel, and it was so liquidy. And there were times where I'd be letting my eyes dry because I couldn't do the top one and then go straight into the bottom one. I'd have to let it dry. And while I was like letting it dry, I'd sneeze, and like it would literally get over my entire eye. And there were multiple times where I had to redo my makeup because I sneezed, and my mascara was so liquidy that it just got everywhere. And so I asked for Christmas, please just get me another mascara because I hate this stuff and I'm tired of using it. And so I'm so thankful I got a new mascara and I don't have to use that stuff anymore. It's in the garbage. And I threw 2 lipsticks away because I was decluttering, and I was like, I haven't used these 2 lipsticks in like 2 years, if not more. And so I was like, they can just go in the garbage. They're used. I'm not going to give them to someone. None of my friends want them, so I just tossed them. The one I'm really proud of, another one I'm really proud of is my eyeglass cleaner. It's like a full-size eyeglass cleaner, like this tall, but the like teeniest amount at the bottom took like 9 million years to use up. And what's worse is it took like 2 years to use up the whole bottle. And what's worse is that I bought 2 of them when I bought that bottle. And so I already have a backup to use for the next 2 years. So it'll be 4 years old by the time it's done. So will I be buying those in 2s anymore? No, I will be buying 1 at a time, and I will be waiting until it's like very, 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 very bottom of the barrel, because literally the tiniest amount lasted like 3 weeks in that thing. I've used up a ton of tea candles. 1 year for Christmas, I bought like an apple scented tea candles and some pine scented tea candles, and then before that I had bought just a pack of like white tea candles, and I still have all of them, and that was like maybe 2020, maybe 2021, and I have been trying to use those up instead of buying new candles. And so all year I didn't buy new candles, I just used the tea candles. And then my husband went shopping, and he comes home and he's like, I didn't think we had any Christmas candles. And so he bought some Christmas candles. And so now we have Christmas candles, and I won't be using those tea candles currently. But I'm thankful for the candles. They smell lovely, and they are great. And so we have more candles to use up. And so I've been lighting candles every day. I used up a glue stick. The glue stick definitely was on. It's like, it could have been just thrown away, but I used it up. I just wanted to be known by the whole world that it could have been thrown away, and I used it up. I opened a new glue stick, and I was like, wow, this is so much better. Like, what was wrong with that other glue stick? It was old. I used up a thing of molasses. I haven't decided if I'm going to replace this or not. That's why I put it on the list. because molasses is a superfood. It's really high in B vitamins. I generally use it mostly at Christmas time, so I could wait until next Christmas. But I have been occasionally throwing some in my coffee cream or the coffee syrup that I make out of sugar and water and spices or extracts, and as like a boost of B vitamins. And I don't know if I want to do that again or not. So I guess y'all just have to watch my grocery haul videos to see if I buy molasses or not. Let's stay tuned. Will she, as slow as molasses, buy molasses? I don't know. And then the last thing that I used up was a jar of dried wild mushrooms. I will not be replacing this. I do not want more. After using those up, I'm glad they're gone. And I will not be dehydrating mushrooms to put in my pantry. I have a friend that does that, and he can do that. And I will eat mushrooms from the store. That's the end of what I finished. And so I have a very, very short list of things that I wanted but haven't bought because they don't fit into the budget. I mean, very short. There's 4 things on this list. But I want to make a disclaimer because I am not on social media the way that most people are on social media. I have not been on Facebook, TikTok, or Instagram since June of 2024. I've not logged into and scrolled on in any shape, or way, or form any of those sites. I've only been on YouTube and scrolling on YouTube, and I cater my algorithm by choosing not interested or don't show me this channel. That being said, I do still occasionally see things that are viral. In general, I don't though. So it is easier to talk myself out of things because I'm only seeing them in the store and they're not bombarding my eyeballs every second of every day, you know, like they are for most other people. Like I don't know how you guys don't spend money 24/7. I remember the feeling of just being like, oh, I don't want that. And then 30 days later, I'd seen it 50 times and suddenly I did want it. And it was like, oh, I'm just like, I feel if you can't get off the internet like I have, I feel for you and I'm sorry. I hope you can one day. So the things I talked myself out of was a fleece mushroom blanket. It was black with pumpkins, plants, and mushrooms. Now I have a teal mushroom blanket that has, I believe, just mushrooms on it, but it's like a teal background. So it's basically the same exact blanket in a slightly different color. And like I saw it and I was like, oh, I'm so sad I can't get this. And then I'm like walking away. I'm like, the further away I got from it, the further I was able to put some like actual like emotional distance too. And I'm just sitting there going like, I don't even use that fleece blanket as a blanket because it's so thin and flimsy that it doesn't warm me in the wintertime. I use it to put on the floor to put my head down or something like that. Like I use it as a cover for things or as like art on my couch, but I don't use it as a blanket. So I'm sitting there like walking away going, I don't even need that blanket anyways because it's not even warm enough to be a blanket. So just keep walking. And so I felt better after a while. And now I don't even want that blanket. This is one I still want and I hoped I was going to get for Christmas. I did not. The Godiva chocolate box from Costco. I love the Godiva chocolate box from Costco. And occasionally I will indulge in the Costco box and I will share it with my whole family. This year, I'm not doing it. So I'm still just a little hoping my husband will surprise me with the Godiva chocolate box. And then I mentioned this one. It's a mini pumpkin stoneware dish from Walmart. It was out during like the fall season. Here's the thing. I'm really glad I talked myself out of it because it's not a dish that I really need because I cook for 4 people generally, or 3 to 4 people. I don't need to cook for 1 in a tiny little pot. 2, I have a tiny little pot that my sister-in-law bought me last year. I don't need another one. 3, I do want the stoneware pumpkin in the color of all my pans from Le Creuset. So should I buy the cheapy one from Walmart, or should I just wait until I can finally get the pumpkin one from Le Creuset? I'm going to wait. And I'm going to get the one I really want. And then I did see the viral bear cup from Starbucks, and at first I was like, oh, that's so cute. I would love to put a coffee in that. How adorable. That would be so cute with my coffee. And then, like, I gave it 10 minutes to think about it, and I was like, I do not hand wash dishes. I do not get in there and scrub them out generally. If I need to, I will. If it's, like, getting really gross, I will. But I don't do that. I buy dishwasher safe things because it has to go in the dishwasher because I don't hand wash my dishes. I'm looking at that bear cup and it's like little ears and its little nose, and I'm thinking the foam in my coffee is going to get stuck in all those little crevices, you know? And then I'm going to have to hand wash that to get all that gunk out. And I'm going to be miserable. And I'm never going to use that cup. I already got rid of one cute cup because I had to hand wash it. Do I really want a second cup that I have to hand wash that I'm just going to get rid of? So I very, very, very quickly talked myself out of that cup. And if you didn't, that's okay. The bear cups are cute. I would love to know if they are a pain in the butt to wash in the dishwasher, though. Or if they're even allowed in the dishwasher. Are they dishwasher safe? Because that's how I've currently been talking myself out of buying that bear cup. It's not even dishwasher safe, and I'm not willing to pay $300 for a bear cup. So yeah, so that was my update for mostly December, but a little bit of how November and October went, because I have been doing this since October. The next update will be at the end of January. I'm really interested to see how things go because January for me is always kind of a no big spending month. Like I almost never, like I'm so burned out from Christmas that I never go to the stores in January. So I probably won't even go to the thrift store this month. We'll probably just stick to home or the woods, go out in the woods. Yeah, so that we'll see what happens. I'm really curious how far I can take this $400 challenge. I really want to see if I can just continue to not feel restricted, because that was the reason that I couldn't handle those no buys. So yeah, so I guess I'll just end it here, and I'll say I'll see you in the next one, and remember to be kind to yourself.